Sound up, rolling camera over here.
This is rad.
Well, my name is Dario, and I run Alimentare Aurora. Kind of a second life for me. I used to be an assistant professor of molecular medicine at UCSF, and then I had not exactly a change of heart. This heart has always been there and pulsing. I just never listened to it, and I got to a point where science was not feeling me anymore, and I decided to jump over and do this. Now I work way more than I did before. I paid way less than I did before. 10 times more happy.
So you love it?
Yeah, I love it. I think we were introduced by that guy GT Kombucha, is that right?
Zach,
Yes.
that's right.
Because I was hired at the time as a culinary director of Mutec Festival, Mutec San Francisco, and we were looking for beverage sponsorship and partners and people, honestly, who were just excited as us of throwing the first event in the US. And yeah, I suggested you guys, and yeah, you were literally like so supportive, so friendly. We loved it, and then that friendship started there. Continued the second year. We had a brunch where we met Shane and CY or Lion Dance Cafe. You guys became friends. Annie, T-File. Yeah, so it's all the same. Yeah, all there. Yeah. We just jive. We gel super fast. So the dream for the collaboration kind of speaks for everything we already just talked, and literally is a collaboration between me and you, but Shane and CY on this cafe are very involved. I was telling you before that once they came to visit here, and CY's mom was here, she brought the pecan from France, which is a bitter orange Amaro situation that you add to beer, and I loved it. And then I remember the culture of mixing wine and Sprite or beer and Sprite in Italy. My grandma used to mix wine and Sprite, and there's also a French thing called panache. So in this refreshing, we were discussing 16-ounce pint drink. Your Cruise, very refreshing beer. Pinotto, which is a bitter orange soda. This one specifically uses slow food protected Pinotto orange from Liguria, and it's less sweet than the classic San Pellegrino stuff that is like very bad in general. Umeshu, which is a sour plum macerated with rock sugar, and then neutral spirit, so that's homemade.
And you made that?
I made that.
Where do you get the plums?
I got them, this specific batch, I got them from Rintaro. Because a friend of mine was moving to Belgium, and at one point she's like, hey, we got too many, do you want it? We got a case of it. So Satomi made some, I made some, they're great, beautiful. I actually don't know where they come from, but you know, it's Rintaro, so Japanese album, so it was good stuff. To round it up, you, Thomas, had the intuition of adding salt, and we thought about adding maybe another citrus aspect to it. So my friend Daphne, Nina Jam, makes these salted Meyer lemons, and so a little bit of that as well. And it will probably be served with an orange peel or a citrus peel in general. Yeah.
It's delicious.
Thank you.
I've never had anything like that.
Thank you. Man, come on, guys. Can I say it again?
Yeah, please. Yeah. Do it. You can take as many takes as you want. No worries. No worries.
All right.
My name is Annie. I'm the founder of T-File. So T-File is a Gongfu cha company. We specialize in mostly oolongs and other handcrafted teas sourced from China. So all over China, like Yunnan, Fujian, and Chaozhou. Yeah, so I actually grew up drinking tea in this style. I grew up doing this because my dad grew up in Chaozhou and our family's ancestry is actually Fujian. So basically the combination of two tea culture I grew up in Guangdong in China, so we've been doing gongfu-cha since I was a kid. But I didn't really care about it growing up because it's just something that my dad and my uncles did all the time. Like after a meal, oh, we're gonna go to the tea table, and then before a meal, tea, blah blah blah. It's always tea all day. It wasn't until I moved here that I realized how much I missed that communal aspect of just enjoying tea, enjoying each other's presence, and how different it is from especially the fast-paced culture in America, where it's like people get their caffeine on the go, right? You're not sitting down, you're not really appreciating how each steeping actually bring out more flavors. So I started kind of doing this here, and the more I got into it, the more I also got into the processing of it, and then got connected to some of the farms in China. Honestly, I would say I'm not very ambitious, because the whole way of doing this is, I would say it's more of a niche, right? It's very different from how people appreciate tea here, and I think the more I introduce it to people, at least to know about how much care it goes into the harvest and also the processing of teas, I'll be happy. Like that, I'm good with that, right? Even if they're not doing gongfu style. So one of the things that separates Tefal with other companies is that we, like I said, I only work with small family farms. Green tea and black teas are not made, or red tea, are not made in Chaozhou. Like everyone only drinks oolong and prefer the sort of like more greener, lighter profile, like the oxidized oolong. But by working directly with family farms, we can kind of experiment with coming up with different flavors. So things like that, right? If I was working with a bigger farm or more of a factory almost, it's hard to kind of tweak things. And also Tefal has a tea club. Essentially what it is that subscribers either get 1 or 2 teas every month. And it's about 25 grams each. So they're getting a taste of teas, not just from Chaozhou, other areas as well. It's both a way for me to also know what people are into. Sometimes I'm testing out teas and it's really just me, maybe my partner and I just sitting there like, do you like this one? And oftentimes we try it once and then maybe like a month later we try it again and I'm like, oh, actually this is better than I thought, right? So having a tea club, I'm getting feedback from the subscribers as well. I'm like checking in with them like, do you like this? Sometimes people like stuff that I don't like, but maybe I will consider getting a higher quality one or changing the rows to, add more stuff to the collection.
So tell us about the tea we're using in the beer.
It is a product that I fought hard against selling it at first because again I wanted to do it the traditional way, so gongfu tea, loose leaf. The first time I went to Chaozhou to meet the farm too, they were telling me that oh, there are people doing tea bags. Oh, you're selling tea in America? You should do a tea bag. I was like, no, I don't think so. And then I tried some of the other ones their neighboring farms made, and I was like, no, this is not. I mean, I get it. Maybe to an untrained palate, this is okay enough, but I don't think so. And then they were like, what do you think about this? And they gave me one tea bag that they have made for one other person that's buying them. I tasted it and I was like, and I also opened the tea bag. It's whole leaves, right? And I asked them what's in it. So it's honey orchid cultivar, and then duckshot cultivar, and then also another secret one that they are not telling me. So I was like, oh, okay. And I realized that, okay, maybe I would really try this. And I started selling them. And that was sort of like a gateway for a lot of people that was introduced to Tefal teas. And then again, like I said, the more they got into it, they're like, oh, okay, so what's the difference of these cultivars, right? What else is in this blend? How else can I brew this tea? That's when they get into it, which I realize is ultimately what I want to do anyway. So yeah, it's a house blend that's blended in Chaozhou at the farm, and it's triple roasted of 3 cultivars.
My name's Michael Jervis, manager here at Rooted Coffee in Walnut Creek. Story of Rooted Coffee. So it started, John and Jenny, in 2013. They decided they wanted to start a coffee shop. They started at farmers markets, local events. They found like their main roots in the CrossFit events. They were going to the games, different events locally, just as a pop-up, serving pour-overs and cold brew. And that progressed for a while. They were local here at the Walnut Creek Farmers Market and a few others. And then first brick and mortar was Poet's Corner. Tiny little shop, maybe the size of this patio here. And they're just slinging waffles and coffee as hard as they can. And then COVID hit and things changed. And then just the community is so supportive that we were able to open another store during COVID. So this one opened end of October. So we've been here coming up close to a year. Much different feel from the other store if you've ever been to the Poet's Corner.
Totally.
A lot smaller there, there's no inside space, so it's fun to see two different shops, same coffee, same thing, same rooted, but just operating entirely differently. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think the community and values are really what, I don't know, that feels like our core. Our core is this community, and that's something it's always been. Like, if you've ever met John and Jenny, they're the kindest, most like welcoming people that you know.
They're very.
I mean, half of our regulars have been going to the farmers market, getting coffee from them since 2014. So like, the community that they foster and create, and the values that they instill in us as workers, that they show, like, everything is plant-based. They care about animals. They care about the planet. We've got all of our stuff is compostable. So really, like, driving that home, which isn't something you find in a lot of coffee shops. A lot of places have great coffee, good baristas, things like that, nice aesthetics, but I think the community and values that are found here unmatched elsewhere. John and Jenny have known some of the Calicraft folk for a while, and they've talked and done a lot of stuff in the past. I think the first collab beer was the Drip.
Yep.
That one came out a few years ago, and I mean, Evan, Thomas, all the guys over there, just like the most personable, and they have the same stoke for innovation and excitement and like doing things differently. So I think it's just been a super cool relationship that's been both as just like friends, like we'll go over there and hang out and try a new beer and chat with the guys for a while, or we're talking recipes and giving them cold brew and maple to like make cool collaborations. So it's been a very fun collaboration. A very popular drink for one of the Calicraft people was the maple cold brew, which is going to be our cold brew with maple and oat milk. And got the gears turning with that drink and decided to evolve it into a beer. So we dropped off 4 gallons of cold brew and a liter of maple syrup the other day, and I can only imagine it's going to be delicious.
Yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I'm CY, co-owner of My Dance Cafe. I started cooking professionally over 10 years ago at this point. Initially I was into illustration and graphic design. I was looking for community and a way to connect with my heritage as someone who was like born and raised in Singapore. I wasn't finding that going down that path, but as soon as I started cooking, just so much more opened up. I was able to start trying to recreate recipes and flavors that were familiar and that kind of like brought me back home, and it's kind of really that homesickness and I guess nostalgia that brought me to open Lion Dance Cafe with Shane and this crew that we have now.
I am Shane Stanbridge. I'm one of the owners of Lion Dance Cafe. I grew up in a very food-centric house. 3 uncles of mine were in the food industry in restaurants, and everybody took food very seriously. There was always homemade pasta at family events, and those uncles, they really were from a very early age. They told me to never get into restaurants, but that's kind of what I wanted to do. Did a few things here and there, photography and cinema and things like that, but eventually got back into food. Went to culinary school. That's where we met. We started working in the same spot, and we were just kind of ready to start going out on our own and making food, doing pop-ups and catering. We were getting by like that for a while, and the opportunity to open Lion Dance Cafe came during the pandemic, and we took it.
Lion Dance Cafe is an evolution of that when we started making Singaporean food, and we saw how many people that was just clicking with, people who were also missing food from back home, missing their families, were just showing up for our pop-ups, and like something I never thought was going to happen. So we felt like, all right, well, it's a good time to focus on that after all.
So we met Thomas initially at a Mood Tech artist brunch event that was put on by Dario Barbone of Alimentaria Aurora. And that's where we met Thomas, who was the beer sponsor, and then we also met Annie of Teophile at that same event.
So when we met Thomas that day, we were really talking about how we love calamansi. It's really hard to find fresh calamansi here. Really wanted to do like a beer collab at the time. And so when he invited us to do a collab for the Calicraft anniversary, we decided to do something that involved calamansi, but that was also going to be just showcasing a lot of the flavors we like at the restaurant. So a lot of chilies and a good amount of acidity.
So the michelada mix, it's made primarily with early girl tomatoes, Fresno chilies, macaroon lime leaves. There's shallot and ginger, some ferments in there. There's like fermented daikon brine and some koji ferments as well. So we tried to pack as much like complexity and acidity from different sources, but the primary source of the acidity is the calamansi.
Yeah, just come have our food. We have an amazing crew. We make exciting food, and yeah, just come back. We are at 380 17th Street in downtown Oakland.
Beautiful.
Yeah.